The John LeBang Show has been known to make people laugh, sing, think, scream, throw things in rage, and generally lose their minds. Listener discretion is advised.
Scheduled programming to bring you a show on the edge, broadcasting worldwide and out to the greater universe. You're listening to the John LeBang Show.
Greetings, Earthlings, and alert the media. Get ready for another hour of sonic vibrations. Well, after last night's cornucopia of degenerate, half-witted bumfoolery at the local street fair I attended, I am so glad to be here in the comforts of the studio, safe behind my microphones. Because it's not safe out there. Not with the people that attend all these public events, people who just, we'll get into that eventually. How are you doing, ladies and gentlemen? Thank you. Big episode 299 before we head on out for the short summer vacation, where you'll get a bunch of special broadcasts from the John LeBang Show while we're out there fixing up the studio, and we're in the studio today. It's getting there. We're moving slowly. Our latest idea for the studio was to put up some fabric and put some trim pieces up, and man, it looks great. I can't wait to let you all see what's going on here in the studio. But we're still a good month away before this whole thing's done. We've got a lot to talk about. Russian probe, we'll probably get into that at some point because there's things going on there. We're also going to talk about the Las Vegas massacre and what the police department has released recently. There's a lot of other topics that we're probably going to touch on because there was a great deal of minor news. For the mainstream media, it's minor news. I think it's important news, and we'll probably try to wrap all that up here real soon, get it all into this hour. One cool little tidbit, and I'm bringing this up because to me it ties in to what happened last night at the local street fair. We'll get there, too, because you'll be like, what are you talking about, John? But Patrick Stewart looks like he's going to reprise his role as Jean-Luc Picard on Star Trek. Some kind of new Star Trek series is going to emerge, and Patrick Stewart is going to be part of it. So that's a piece of good news for you Trekkies out there who really enjoy the entire Trek franchise. I'm worried they're pushing it like, Star Wars, in my opinion, has overdone it with releasing too many movies and too many side things, and it's not special anymore. I'm worried this Star Trek is going about it again, and it's like a reboot, which again tells me that there's no new ideas out in Hollywood. And if Hollywood would listen to some of us in this independent world, they might find some real good talent instead of hiring from within. We see the damn Disney movies. Some of the extras in the movies are family members of the director or family members of the actor. And that's how Hollywood is. They like their little clique and they keep it in the family. And it's rare that an outsider gets a shot at making it big. You got to know somebody. But Star Trek is rehashing, bringing back Jean-Luc Picard, which I'm a little excited because I like The Next Generation. I thought it was one of the best Star Trek iterations. Personally, the original series holds a special place in this heart here. Bones, he's one of my favorites, and Spock and Kirk, without them there would be no Next Generation. And a lot of people pass over Deep Space Nine, which I thought was a very good series in itself. After that, any of the ones after that, and some people do like Voyager, and they had a couple good episodes, but I think I didn't grab onto Voyager like I did the Next Gen or the original series or even Deep Space Nine. Deep Space Nine, that's a very underrated iteration of Star Trek. And you should really, if you haven't spent much time watching it, go out there and download a few, go to Netflix or whatever. I'm sure they got it on there. Maybe they don't, but I think they do. Go check out some Deep Space Nine episodes. Because unlike the Next Gen, unlike the original series, Deep Space Nine was a page-by-page story. The universe, it was just like, it was almost, I don't want to say soap opera-like, but what Marvel has done with the MCU, Deep Space Nine really did in the series. They followed a track. And it was a constant, especially later on when they had the Dominion War and the Klingon War and all that. But last night, while I was with these people, I realized to myself, there is no future like Star Trek. There is no future. When I was growing up, I was like, wow, that's what I want mankind to be one day. Go into space. But mankind may go to space, but it's not going to be for everybody. Like Star Trek, especially the Next Gen series, really made it where anybody could be on a starship. Anybody could travel. You could pilgrimage between worlds and stuff. I don't see the lower half making it to that future. They're not going to need the lower half of society in that future. And are they worth it? I mean, you don't want to be judgmental of people, but when you look at what happens in public, at these events like street fairs, and the people can't even pick up their garbage, and that's the smallest thing. We had a recent cruise down one of our main roads here in my town. They have these auto cruises, classic car cruises, right? People line up to watch the cars drive by. I mean, if that does it for you, fine. But when they leave, there's garbage all over the place. Now, beyond that, the spectacles that you see, we're not supposed to offend anybody, right? These words might offend anybody. If I would say a certain person did this, whatever. You get offended. But I was offended the whole night. Nobody ever takes into account that your public actions could offend somebody else when you're just doing your thing, right? We're allowed to do our thing, sure. But maybe you shouldn't offend people doing it. And maybe you should take into account, I should say, that acting like a degenerate, like you do in your own house, you can do that, that's fine. Just don't bring your degeneracy out in public for the world to see. We don't need to see it. We don't need to see it. It's like, I don't care what people do at home, your sexuality, what you do in your private life, you play video games. I don't care at all. But when you're out in public, I don't need to know about it. Why do I need to know any of that stuff? Keep it at home. But the weirdos and the schmigigis and the schlobs, they can't keep it at home. They just bring it out in public. And then you got the moms. Sorry, moms. Maybe you're a single mom. I don't know who this lady or these couple ladies were. But they're too busy dancing to watch their 500 kids running around. You know, I was filming a band, right? So you think these obtuse people would realize that. But they don't care. They're just doing their thing. Out there in public, not giving two craps that their kids are actually getting in the way of the video crew. Because mom's too busy having a good time with the other mom because they can't get a guy. So they're going to go out there and dance with each other and forget the kids. Let the kids run around. It's only dark out. There's only hundreds and hundreds of degenerates all around you. Yeah, the best thing you should do as a mom at a street fair is to start dancing and let your kids run around like little creatures. I mean, they don't think that some weirdo that if you just looked around, you would see, I mean, there are lots of weirdos there. You don't see that these weirdos out there, one of them might be extra deranged, extra out of his mind, and grab your kid and run. And you're too busy dancing. I mean, I don't know if that happened last night. I don't think it did. Hopefully it didn't. But the way these people were, and then the old ladies who can't dress like an old lady, they think they're 20 still. Boobs hanging out, tattoos that are so wrinkled you don't know what the tattoo looks like. Looks like we got a phone call coming in. We're going to take it on this subject alone. Out in Detroit, who's this?
Hey, John, this is Shady.
Shady, what's going on, my friend?
You know, I was there, too, last night. I was hanging out with you.
Yeah, we saw a few people we knew, actually.
Well, that's true, John. But you know what?
What's that, Shady?
You didn't mention how many ugly people there were.
Well, I wasn't trying to offend anybody, Shady. I was just doing my best to describe the people that were there without using words like ugly.
John, there was so much ugly last night that even Hillary Clinton would look like Miss America. And what about the fat women?
Is that all you called in for, Shady?
Well, you brought up the grannies. Can I say something about that?
Sure, go ahead.
Listen here, Grandma. If you're tuned in right now, please don't wear clothes that show off your body. You ain't pretty anymore. You're wrinkled. You're old. Get used to it. Act your age. I know you're a lonely old prune, but please, for the love of God, act your age, not your shoe size.
It's a bit rough, Shady.
I haven't even talked about the fat people, John.
I don't think we should talk about the fat people.
Listen here, no wonder everybody's got diabetes and everything. Everybody's fat. Where's the skinny people? You couldn't find them if there was skinny, because the fat people are blocking the view. Listen here, between all the fat people and the ugly and the stupid people...
Hey, stop, bro.
What, John? What's the matter?
You can't be picking on everybody on the radio.
Well, I'm not picking on them, John. I'm just telling the truth. Aren't you the guy who says we need to report the truth?
Yeah, Shady, we do our best to report the truth.
Well, were there ugly people there last night?
Yes, Shady, there were a lot of ugly people there last night.
Were there a lot of fat people there last night?
Yes, there were fat people there.
And you already said there were a lot of stupid people.
What are you getting at?
Well, I'm just saying, that shouldn't have been a street fair. That should have been Idiot Palooza. By the way, John, did you get paid last night?
No, Shady, they hosed me on money.
Again?
Everybody wants to hire me, Shady, but no one wants to pay me.
How are you supposed to run a business like that, John? You got mouths to feed.
I don't know what to tell you, Shady.
So what you're saying, John, is not only did you have to deal with ugly people and stupid people and fat people and grannies that want to dress like they're 20 years old showing off their wrinkly tattoos and their fat rolls, you didn't even get paid.
Yep, that's about it.
Wow. You suck.
Thanks, Shady. Oh, we got another call coming in. Gordy from Ottawa. What say you?
Oh, I like the Star Trek, eh? My favorite show, eh? I watched The Wrath of Khan, eh?